Welcome to the J. Frank Norris Historical Society. I have before me a photograph of the renowned violinist whose name was Brooks Morris that I want to tell you something about this remarkable man. This year of 2012 is the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra of Fort Worth, Texas. Some may ask, what does all this have to do with the J. Frank Norris Historical Society? But wait until you hear the career of Mr. Brooks Morris, who was among the early pioneers in establishing this now renowned orchestra. Mr. Morris was the concert master in 1912. And this year of 2012 is the 100th anniversary of the founding of that now famous Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra. Now, the advent of World War II brought about a temporary demise of this orchestra until its reorganization in the year of 1924. The vision and commitment of Brooks Morris is credited as the driving force behind the founding of the orchestra in 1924. The Brooks Morris Society is largely responsible for the great strides of this remarkable orchestra development into now its acclaim of international recognition in the realm of classical performances. In 1924, the newly refounded orchestra was attracting thousands to its concerts. The First Baptist Church of Fort Worth happened to be the only place large enough to accommodate the crowds. It was a casual meeting at this event, a casual meeting that J. Frank Norris and Brooks Morris met for the first time. Dr. Norris was so impressed by what he had heard and seen that he promptly offered to Mr. Morris the position of choir director at the First Baptist Church in Fort Worth, Texas. J. Frank Norris himself, being a man of vision in his own right, recognized the professionalism of Brooks Morris. Ironically, it must have been the professionalism of both men which accounts for the fact of the bonding together of these two men with opposite personalities. Thus began a 28-year tenure of close association in which Mr. Morris expressed to me, I had the privilege of interviewing this man. He said to me in 1974, shortly before his passing, there was never a cross word between us. He's speaking of J. Frank Norris. In an interview in 1974, Mr. Morris also stated to me, J. Frank Norris was the most honorable man of my acquaintance. Sunday after Sunday, this esteemed violinist thrilled the audiences of the First Baptist Church with his melodious rendition of classical hymns. His participation as choir director and his performances and his very presence had to be an integral part of what accounts for a lasting legacy of the ministry of J. Frank Norris. I say all of this for posterity's sake, for it bodes well as credible evidence to the character and integrity of a man so often maligned. As everyone knows, J. Frank Norris could not have been guilty all of the fallacious rumors perpetuated through the years and even 60 years after his death, if for no other reason. The legacy of J. Frank Norris and Brooks Morris are inexplicably linked together. And friends, in closing, the legacy of Brooks Morris is the prestigious Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra in this year of 2012, in which they celebrate 100 years of existence. The legacy of J. Frank Norris is reflected in the worldwide interest expressed by his many admirers, as well as the continuation of the seminary he founded in 1939, now called the Arlington Baptist College of Arlington, Texas. You would do yourself well if you visited the campus of the Arlington Baptist College. You would be greeted by the historian of this school, Mrs. Vicki Bryant. She would be a gracious host if you could visit the campus of this school in Arlington, Texas. Friends, look at my website, tell your friends about it, learn about Brooks Morris and his association for 28 years with J. Frank Norris. I thank you for listening. God bless each one. God bless the United States of America.